If you enjoy hearing these eerie tales and want more to help you drift off or keep you up at night, don't forget to tap the like button. It really helps the channel grow. I found my missing brother on a forum for the dead. I found my missing brother on a forum for the dead. I never thought much about online forums until one of them brought my brother back. Ryan had been missing for 2 years. One day he went out to grab coffee and never came back. No suspicious activity on his bank account. No weird phone calls. No signs of struggle. Just gone. The police said he'd likely been abducted, but without evidence, they couldn't do much. My family fell apart. My mom stopped eating. My dad stopped talking. And I just stopped feeling. Late one night, while spiraling through forums about unsolved disappearances, I stumbled upon a thread titled Messages from Beyond, Connecting with the Lost. It was buried deep within an obscure corner of the internet and full of people claiming to receive messages from the dead. It sounded ridiculous, but one comment caught my attention. A user named Echoing Void posted, "Sometimes the missing don't know they're gone. Sometimes they're here, looking for home." Below, someone replied, "How do you know?" And Void answered, "Because I am one." For whatever reason, grief, desperation, or lack of sleep, I created an account and messaged Void. I typed, "If you're really one of the missing, prove it. Tell me something only you would know." The response came within minutes. "What do you want me to prove? That you once broke Ryan's nose during a stupid fight over a game of Mario Kart? That he forgave you before you forgave yourself?" My stomach dropped. I hadn't told anyone about that, not even my parents. It was just one of those childhood moments you carry like a secret scar. I asked, "Who are you?" Void's reply, "I think you know." The next few weeks were a blur. I spent hours every night talking to Void. He said the world he was in was a fractured reflection of ours, familiar but empty. The sky was always gray, the streets abandoned, the air heavy with silence. He couldn't explain how he got there, only that he woke up in this place and couldn't leave. The more we talked, the more he sounded like Ryan. He even remembered details no one else could, like the nickname he used to call our childhood dog, or how he'd secretly taped my embarrassing middle school dance recital to blackmail me later. One night, Void said something that terrified me. He typed, "They're watching me now. They don't like that I'm talking to you." I asked who they were, but his responses became cryptic. "The shadows. The ones who keep us here. They don't like noise." That was the last I heard from him for weeks. Then, a new message appeared in my inbox. "Do you want to see me?" Attached was a link to a live video feed. I hesitated but clicked. The stream showed a dimly lit street that looked eerily like the one Ryan and I grew up on. The houses were distorted, their shapes wavering as if viewed through heat haze. In the distance, a figure walked toward the camera. As they drew closer, I recognized his face. It was Ryan. But something was off. His eyes were too wide, his movements stiff, like a puppet on strings. He smiled at the camera, but it wasn't the smile I remembered. It was forced, unnatural. He raised a hand and waved. In the live chat beside the video, he typed, "It's me. I told you I was here." I couldn't move. My heart felt like it was trying to escape my chest. Suddenly, the camera shook violently. The shadows behind Ryan began to shift and ripple, forming towering figures with jagged edges. They moved closer, their distorted limbs reaching for him. Ryan typed, "They're coming. You have to help me. Find the door." The feed cut out. I spent the next few days piecing together everything he'd said about his world, looking for clues about the door. It wasn't much, but he'd mentioned a specific place from our childhood, an old abandoned cabin in the woods where we used to play. I drove there, half expecting nothing. The cabin was just as we'd left it, rotting and overgrown. Inside, I found a trap door beneath a threadbare rug. The ladder below led to a tunnel that stretched on for what felt like miles. At the end was a heavy iron door with strange carvings. As I touched it, my phone buzzed. A message from Void. "They know you're here. Don't let them in." Before I could reply, the shadows began to seep through the walls, crawling toward me like living tar. I shoved the door open and stepped through. I don't know how to explain what happened next. One moment, I was in the tunnel. The next, I was standing in the gray, empty world Ryan had described. The air was heavy, the silence deafening. And there he was, standing a few feet away, staring at me with wide, desperate eyes. "Ryan," I whispered. But before he could respond, the shadows surged forward. The last thing I remember is his scream. I woke up in my bed the next morning, clutching a piece of paper I'd never seen before. Written on it, in Ryan's handwriting, were the words, "Don't stop looking. There's another door. Hot singles near you." I was never the type to pay attention to neon-colored ads blinking on my screen at 2 in the morning. I'd usually ignore them, maybe laugh at their ridiculous claims. So, when I first saw one that said "hot single ladies in your area," I scoffed and scrolled on. But after a few minutes of mindless browsing, I noticed the ad changed. This time, the text read, "Hot singles, only 2 kilometers away." I paused. Ads often track your location, but it felt weird to see the exact distance spelled out. I shrugged it off. Just a marketing ploy. Nothing new. I got caught up reading a thread for a while, then refreshed. That's when I saw it again. But the distance had shrunk. "Hot single near you, 500 meters. There was a face on the banner, a brunette with unsettlingly pale eyes, the iris so washed out it was nearly white. She stared through the screen with a knowing smile. Something about her expression felt too personal, like she knew I was watching. A quick shiver ran through me, but I chalked it up to late-night nerves. I forced my attention elsewhere, until another refresh brought up a third ad. This time, it covered the top of the page, big and bold. "I'm closer than you think, 100 meters away." My stomach twisted. I peered out my window, scanning the empty sidewalk lit by a single, flickering street lamp. Nobody was there. I tried to reason it out. Ads can be hyper-targeted, sure, but 100 meters. That was practically my doorstep. I told myself to ignore it, but it got worse. Another banner loaded with the same woman, only now her features were off. Her face looked elongated, her grin stretched a little too wide, almost like a predatory snarl. The text underneath read, "We see you, 50 meters. I felt a chill roll through me. We? There were multiple figures in the background now, other women with the same pale eyes, all leaning forward, as if pressing closer to the screen. I tried to close the page, but it froze. A pulsing ad replaced everything. "We're right here. 10 meters. My heart thudded. 10 meters is practically my front door. I jumped from my chair and ran to the window, ripping the curtain aside. Again, nothing. Just my silent street. But the atmosphere felt heavier, like something was watching from just beyond the glow of the lamp. When I stumbled back to my laptop, the ad had changed once more. "At your door. Open up." A sharp clatter made me whirl. My front doorknob jiggled, metal scraping metal. Someone, something, was trying to get in. My eyes flicked back to the screen, where a new image had replaced the older ads. It was a photo of my house, taken from the sidewalk outside. My porch light was on, the potted plant to the left of the door. And in the banner, that brunette stood near the front steps, unnaturally tall, face partially obscured by a swirl of static. She looked even more distorted, with her eyes fixed in a soulless stare. I heard a second jolt at the door. Fear roared in my ears like white noise. I checked my phone, no signal. My Wi-Fi icon flickered. Then came the final blow. The ad changed yet again, displaying my exact address beneath a brand new photo of me, bathed in the monitor's glow, taken from outside my window. I could see the silhouette of someone behind the glass, holding a camera or phone, capturing me in that moment of terror. Hot single ladies at my address. Click now. Before I could do anything, slam the laptop shut, call the police. My entire screen went black. The house lights flickered, then died. I stumbled in darkness, heart racing. A faint glow came through the curtains from the street lamp. I tried to catch my breath, tried to push away the thought that something stood right outside. The doorknob rattled once more, then fell silent. I don't know how long I stood there in the darkness, waiting for the next sound or movement. Eventually, the lights surged back on, and my laptop whirred softly. Its screen remained off, but the little power indicator blinked tauntingly, like it was daring me to open it again. I couldn't move. Couldn't bring myself to check if that horrifying image was still there. Couldn't look out the window to see if anyone or anything was lurking. Now, whenever I close my eyes, I see that ad. The warped faces. Those eyes too pale, too hungry. They came so close. Maybe they're still out there in the night, waiting for me to click, waiting for me to give in. If you see them, don't refresh, don't click, don't even linger on the ad. Because once they know where you are, they're not selling you a date. They're coming to collect. And next time you check your screen, you might find your own face staring back at you from the other side of the glass. And this time, you won't be able to shut the page.